some of these manufacturers have decided it is time to increase our market share, and the only way they know how to do it is to buy it. And what do I mean by that? They increase the incentives dramatically in order to make such a compelling story that the customer goes, I don't know how to say no to that.
This comes by way of Cox Automotive. Every single quarter, they provide us with these Manheim used vehicle value updates, these quarterly outlooks for what they're seeing in the new and used car market. And I have a huge update for Q4 2025 that could be making the case that right now, heading into the fourth quarter, is the best time to buy a new or used vehicle. So what I want to jump into here, I'm going to scroll all the way down, is right there. While strong overall used vehicle market ends Q3 with worrying signs. So let me read some of this data out to you, and then we'll get your take on timing the new and used car market. They also provide some context here for new cars. The used vehicle market remains strong. Cox Automotive is projecting used vehicle sales between 37.9 and 38.5 million cars for the year. So that's actually slightly up from where they were at the beginning of the year. That being said, there's some caution as we head into Q4. This comes from Jonathan Smoke, one of their head economists over there. Quote, the signs from the last few weeks are not promising. September ended with used vehicle prices at their highest point since the start of the year, yet used vehicle sales have seen a slowdown. And when coupling that with interest rates moving up, the picture for Q4 isn't the prettiest. We actually saw, Dad, some depreciation in used vehicle prices, which for a long period here, we haven't seen used vehicle prices come down. And we're seeing, if I scroll down even further, retail used vehicle sales actually going down while inventory is increasing. So let's just stick with used cars for a moment here.
Yes.
You've got inventories building up, you've got sales going down, and you've got the chief economist at Cox Automotive saying, you know what, the end of September looked pretty rough. I'm not super bullish about Q4. What's your take on this? Is there a best time to buy, and could it be right now?
Well, I would think it would be soonish if all their data is correct. And why I mean soonish and not like right this very minute is let the inventory levels build up a little more, let sales slow down a little more, let some of the inventory age, as most dealerships have an aging policy where the used car manager has to move his used car inventory every 60 to 90 days. Anything approaching 60 to 90 days either gets a huge price cut or gets sent to the auction. If we saw inventories go up and sales go down in September, then you could extrapolate out that probably by November and December, if it continues along the same path, these dealers are going to have to lower the prices on their inventory at hand. Because that's the only way they're going to be able to sell it.
And think about it, on the used car side, you always have this kind of off or pressure shift. What the heck is the word I'm looking for? Off valve. I want to say off ramp. Off ramp. That was the word I was looking for. You have this off ramp, which is you take the cars to the auction. And for the longest time there, Dad, wholesale prices were actually going up, but they're not anymore. That's what we're finally starting to see, is wholesale prices are starting to depreciate again, which means you can't just turn and send something to the auction that you previously would have had to, discount to sell to a retail customer. But let's go early to a live experiment. Let's go to the CarEdge car search. I clicked on shop used. And one of the things I want to do here, Dad, is I want to come over here and I want to look at days on market as a filter. So what you were just saying is, what was it, the term policy you were describing?
The aging policy for most dealerships is somewhere between 60 and 90 days.
Okay, so why don't we look at vehicles that have been on dealers' lots for 100 to...
Well, in most cases, those dealerships would have gotten rid of those cars.
So that's what I want to look, is 100 to 150 days. There are nationwide 204,000 used cars for sale right now that have been on dealers' lots between 100 and 150 days. So over what you're saying is the typical aging policy at a dealership. And what I'm interested in here, Dad, was first one. Let's just click on it. Let's see what happens. What I'm interested here is to look at the price history of this vehicle. So I'm going to come down. Okay, here's the price history chart for this particular vehicle. Let's just look at it in this format for a second. I mean, I think we can see exactly what you were just describing when we look at the price history of this first example. Talk us through what you're seeing here.
Well, originally when it was offered for sale back on August 26th, the listing price was $29,358. Today, it's $26,900, $2,458 difference from when they first offered it for sale to what it is today, because, well, it is an aged unit. If there's dealerships out there there that are holding on to these cars for 120, 100, or 150 days, yeah, you should see price reductions. And I would think, based on probably what's going on at the auctions at the moment, if they look at what they think they might be able to get for, say, that Bronco at the auction right now, perhaps they would be better off just taking a shorter deal from a customer.
Yeah.
And they won't lose nearly as much money.
So look at this, Dad. Here's another vehicle. This time it's a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee, but the same dealership group. And what I want you to see here is, look at that. The current price is $33,500, but they'd previously had it up in the 34s. And so it's a good example here from the same dealership group that's operating in a way where, obviously, to your point, the longer they sit on this inventory, they just have to go down on price. And what's interesting is when we look at the data, so again, I'll pull back up what we have from Cox Automotive, they're showing us in black and white here that vehicle sales are going down, inventory is increasing, and we are finally starting to see on the used car side at the wholesale auctions prices decline instead of appreciate. That is why you can come into a show like today and say that this really is a huge update for the used car market as we head into the fourth quarter of 2025. Those examples that we just shared, what was it, Dad? The total number was like
204,000.
Yeah, there are 204,769 used cars for sale nationwide that have been on dealers' lots for over 100 days, but less than 150 days. That's the sweet spot right now. Like, if you are shopping for a used car, please, folks, go use the CarEdge car search, go click on shop used and set that filter 100 to 150 days. These are the cars that are already being discounted. And keep me honest here, Dad, if I'm a customer and I reach out to you and I'm serious, I'm asking for the out the door price, I'm showing legitimate interest, I probably have some negotiating leverage, right? Because it is sitting there longer. I do know inventory is building and I know sales have been down.
Absolutely. I don't know how many times we have done videos where I have said, as a customer, if you go into a dealership, and whether it be a new car or a used car, ask for the oldest vehicle in inventory. If it's a used car, say, what are your overaged used cars that you're looking to get rid of, that you might be willing to take an even shorter deal than what the advertised price is. And trust me, the used car manager has placed a spiff on those vehicles to get rid of them.
Explain what a spiff is, because that's some lingo that I'm not sure everyone knows.
A spiff is an extra bonus that you get for selling certain vehicles that have been hard to sell. So the used car manager might say, on an aged vehicle like that, the minimum commission will be $500 and the average commission might only be $250 or $300. Or the used car manager might say the minimum commission is whatever the minimum commission is, but there's a $300 spiff on top of that, a $300 bonus on top of that for selling that vehicle. And the same happens on the new car side.
The point is obviously use the used car search. It's really compelling what you're able to figure out in there. But the point is, the longer these vehicles sit, some dealerships don't even allow their dealers to have it, aka Penske is a good example of that. Other dealers have very clear linear downward trends of price discounts, and other dealers are going to try and get you on the price drop notification. No matter how you slice it and dice it, inventory is building back up on the used car side slowly but surely, and sales are down. Gives you, the customer, leverage, especially on that aged inventory. Wow, 20 minutes of just used car market talk. I like that. You want to talk new cars for a second?
Okay, just but only for a second.
The headline here from Cox Automotive: new vehicle sales decrease in September. Sales pace remains steady. So here's what's interesting.
Yes.
September had a lot of new car sales because of, drum roll please, electric vehicles.
Yes.
That being said, sales were actually off 14.2% from August to September. And that includes the huge pull ahead in people buying electric vehicles, which we know goes away now that we're in October. And so, Dad, the new car market has growing inventory even more rapidly than the used car market. And there was a pull ahead in demand for electric vehicles last month that no longer exists here in October. We've talked about it for a long time. The best time to buy a new car is the fourth quarter of the year. It's setting up to be a pretty strong buyer's market, I think, in Q4 2025.
Will be. It will be. It always is. The fourth quarter is always the best time. That's when the manufacturers throw the most money towards incentives. Is it now? No, it'll be November and December. Those are the two best months. And the best time to buy a new car or a used car is the week between Christmas and New Year's. Hasn't changed, probably won't change, probably will be that way forever. Everybody is pushing to hit sales goals, whether it be the manufacturers, whether it be the individual dealerships, whether it be the individual salespeople in dealerships. Oftentimes, dealers will take a deal or two that they would have never considered during any other time of the year.
And I think what's interesting to me, Dad, is if we look at where we are right now, what information we have to inform what we expect to see happen in November and December, it's weakening. There's weakness in the new car market. You cannot tell me that you have all this pull ahead demand in September for all the reasons we've noted, and yet still sales are off almost 15% month over month. So there is a little bit of foreshadowing that I think we are privileged enough to be able to do to say, hey, there's weakening going on, which should set us up for huge incentives, big discounts, lots of negotiating leverage for buyers as we head into the end of the fourth quarter.
Some of the manufacturers are indicating by what they're doing on the EV side of things that they are going and are willing to highly incentivize the sale of new vehicles moving forward. Some of these manufacturers have decided it is time to increase our market share, and the only way they know how to do it is to buy it. And what do I mean by that? They increase the incentives dramatically in order to make such a compelling story that the customer goes, I don't know how to say no to that.
Quickly for Jen, what do we say about used cars? You have some leverage, which is a change in the used car market. Used car sales on the retail side were down. Inventory is slowly starting to build back up, and wholesale prices are going down. That means our advice to you is wait or find vehicles that are 100 to 150 days on the market. Really, anything past 60 days is kind of where my dad's saying you have an opportunity because the dealership's feeling pressure to sell that used car. And on new cars, we expect December to be the best deals, the best opportunities. But we're starting to see some weakening in the new car market, which gives us confidence to say that the market conditions will get better for shoppers and quite frankly, worse for dealers and automakers, which is a good thing for those of you that want to save some money.